Good thing. A shorty carry fly. Shorty we catch a move swings. Today we're going to talk about the Canon 7D. I do have the legendary, the OG 7D here, and this happens to be my second 7D. I think this year I bought a 7D as well, which I think I used for a couple of months. This happens to be the 7D that I've actually used for a minute. I'm not sure how old it is now, probably almost a decade or over a decade. I stand to be corrected. If you are someone that wants to pick this particular camera for photography work, well, I think it will all depend on what type of photography that you do. If you are someone that normally handle studio portrait, then I guess this camera will do an amazing job. If you also happen to do wildlife and maybe minor hobbyist sports, maybe it can also handle it properly. But if you are someone that really wants to dial your hands and do paid work, paid photography gig, maybe I would say you should budget and get yourself something a little bit better. I've had this camera in different scenarios. I've done a couple of photo shoots with it. I've also shot massive videos with it, especially when it comes to these YouTube videos, vlogs as well. I've done some crazy stuff with this particular camera, and honestly, trust me, this camera is not really perfect when it comes to video work. So if you're someone that wants to get this camera for video work, I will probably suggest maybe you save up a little bit and get probably the 80D or the 90D, because when it comes to video work with this particular camera, that is where it sucks. Let's be real, this camera is pretty old, and even when it comes to the recording qualities, the codecs, you are a bit limited. 720 gives you, I think, 60p, and when you go down to full HD, you should be able to record 24, 25 and 30, I guess. If you guys can go back into on my channel, you'll probably see that most of the videos that I uploaded recently, I think over 20 videos on this channel recently, was shot on this particular camera. And you guys can see I've actually done some minor rigging here with the monitor and some full frame lens as well, just because I was using it for serious YouTube videos, and it has really put me in a serious trouble. Like, this camera has really taught me serious lessons, man. The camera does sucks when it comes to autofocusing. With this type of YouTube videos, you need autofocus. Even though if you want to manual focus, that's fine, but most of the case you need to put on autofocus. I'm a distance away from the camera, and manual focusing will be a bit of a problem if I don't really have a monitor and all that extra accessories. If you want to take photos, it is a bit okay. Photos, it does the job. Not perfectly like our newer systems like the R5, but it does the job. If you go to video mode, that is where this camera gives up. So before you record the video on the camera, it focuses okay, not perfectly. It focuses okay depending on what lens you have. But as soon as you hit on the recording button, the camera just gives up. It doesn't even autofocus again. It's like, okay, I'm done with you, I'm gone. So I think it's quite common, because I also had the 6D, the original 6D, and it also has similar experience. So I think these older models, that is how they actually made it. I think even the 5D Mark II and 3 might also have similar experience. So the autofocus is a bit annoying. It sucks. This camera shoots 18 megapixel. The 18 megapixel photo of this camera is not that great. I would say that if you still need this camera for photography work, maybe you should get some good lenses. Some fast prime lens. My biggest concern happens to be the video side. I shoot mostly YouTube videos, and I think in a day I can shoot about 2 videos or 3 in a day. And this camera does struggle. Sometimes when I shoot one video, the camera overheats. Even before I get to the second video, I get the warning lights, and I have to wait, open up the SD slot, open up the battery slot so it can get a bit of air for about 10-15 minutes. Then I can start recording again. It really sucks when it comes to videography, especially when you even add in some additional accessories like the monitors and all that. it causes the camera to overheat quicker. Honestly, in today's standard, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2020, whatever coming up, this camera is a bit old, and I think it's now time we let it rest. Especially if you're a pro person, if you're someone that you really know what you're doing in filmmaking, photography. I don't think the 7D is. I mean, I don't even think it's an ideal camera for the type of work that any pro person would do. Another thing that I would like to pinpoint is the type of SD card that it uses is not our regular SD. It's not this regular standard SD ones. No, it uses the CF Express card, the older ones. I think it also comes in the 5D Mark II, 3, I guess. And yeah, this old one, even I think the 1DX uses this one. So it can be a bit on the expensive side because it's a bit old. And yeah, I mean, this camera is pretty old. Just let's not argue, guys. So you can get an adapter. This is the adapter. This is a standard SD card, and then you can just put this inside it, and then you should be fine to go. With my experience of using this particular camera, I don't think it can still hold up in today's standard, for the fact that the autofocus sucks, the memory card is old, and you need to spend a couple of bucks for it. It does not have an articulating screen. It overheats when you push it to extreme. And there are still a lot of problems that I can't actually recall at this point of shooting. But trust me, if you get your hands on it, you will definitely lose interest as times goes. This is not to bash the camera. I mean, I first made a video about a 7D about some time ago, and I was actually saying good stuff about it simply because at that point it serves the job in terms of photography aspect. But currently, testing and using this camera to its maximum potential, I don't think it's ideal in today's standard. Another biggest problem that I noticed, which happens to be, I think, the biggest among all of them, anytime that I shoot a video, like a YouTube video like this, I notice that the color changes. I don't know why that is the case, but I can record a video like now, and for the first 2 minutes, the colors, I should be fine. My skin tone, everything will be, on point. But after about 5 minutes or 8 minutes of recording, the color changes. And I don't know why it does that, but you see that it has actually switched from maybe a warmer color to another. This is not an issue of auto white balance. I think it's an issue of, the sensor or the processor, something to do with the camera itself, because it's kind of weird. I mean, you should be fine. You'll be okay. You'll be speaking all right. And I normally notice when I'm editing. So I think if you guys can actually go through my previous videos, you will notice that along the video, the video is still going on, I changed. The color changed. It's more like Avatar. I will start looking like Avatar. Once again, if you still want to pick this camera, I will highly recommend maybe you taking it as a B cam, a hobbyist photographer, someone beginner trying to start up. Just some minor stuff. But as a pro person, someone who really wants to make money off photography and filmmaking, I don't think the 7D is an ideal camera in today's standard. Overall, this is just my personal preference, and if you are using this camera and you are not experiencing any of what I mentioned, then I guess I stand to be corrected. Thank you for watching. Do not forget, like, subscribe, and if you have any comments, if you want to fight with me, let's deal with that in the comment section. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Stay safe. Peace.